Okay, so we're going to talk about playing with your 5 chord. Remember the pattern: bass, up a string over 2 frets, and what's called a 1-4-5 progression. Now, what this is you have your root note of the key you're playing in. Let's say you're playing in the key of G. The root note would be G. It would be the 1 note. So that would be your 1 chord. So your 1 chord is a 5 chord. Would be this. Then you go, 1 is the G, 1, 2, 3, 4. G, A, B, C. Your 5 would be D. So that would be G. If you look at your pattern of notes, E, F, G, and you got A, B, C, and D. So it's and the way you can remember this is you got your root note, go down a string higher, that's your 4, and then up 2 frets, that's your 5, back to your 4. Now then, when you throw in your whole 5 chord, you're now taking, move the whole thing down, up 2 frets, so that's a very standard pop and rock pattern. There are variations where people will go 5, 1, 4, or they'll go 4, 1, 5, but it's basically those same 3 chords. And you can cover hours and hours of music just playing that way. Now, it's for muting. Muting is when you hear how that just stops. There's 2 ways that you can mute. You hit your chord, and then you just lift your fingers. You see, it's like they're down, you hit your chord, and you just lift up. And the chord stops ringing. Your fingers basically stop the vibration of the strings. And you can also do muting where you're down here, and you can kind of lay your hand right here on the edge. So you get this, and it gives a kind of a, it works better on electric guitars, but you can get this kind of, here it's kind of like suppressed again. Like you can hear the chord, yet it's muted. So, that's it going. And when you're hearing the chord, I'm just pressing my fingers down. The rest of the time it's muted. So that's a way you can use muting to make your song a little more interesting. A lot of times people will just sit there and kind of go, and there's just this continual flow of noise, you know, which is fun, but if you kind of go, you can hear my finger back here. Now on an electric guitar, it does something when it goes out to the signal. Remember what we talked about on an electric guitar? It'll come out the chord and go to the amp. If you turn up the gain, you get all these weird, like, all these really weird sounds coming out of the guitar. So you can sit there and go, you can sort of hear it here. So on an electric, it's just much more aggressive sounding because there's just more electrical current in it. So there's some things to work on. 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. or any combination of those. Now, because we're starting on this note, which is G, E, F, G, that's when you're playing in the key of G. Everything higher string, up 2 frets. Now let's say you start at the 5th fret. E, F, G, A. Now you're playing in the key of A. A, everything a string higher, up 2 frets. And that's how you play rock and roll. There is one thing, I've talked to you about using your little finger. I'm just going to throw this in here, and I'll probably be showing a couple other videos. But you can do this thing where you see I'm reaching out 2 frets. It's on the same string. Not on the root string, but where the second one is. And then when you get your finger really well developed, you can actually go up 3 frets. But that's going to take a while. You got to build up the strength in your hand. You'll find yourself getting possibly frustrated and your hand hurting at first when you do it, because that's kind of a long stretch for your little finger. You got to work really well with your thumb. Like when that's stretched out there, you'll see my thumb is actually lined up over here with my second finger, just to give more strength. And it's actually down here. It's not up on top. It's down here. The reason it comes down here is it allows my hand to spread out. See that? So those are a bunch of other things you can do while you're playing with the 1-4-5 chord progression.